There is an insect darting above a pond right now, wings blurring, eyes like two mirrored domes, body catching the light like a shard of stained glass. It's been doing this for 300 million years, before the dinosaurs, before the first flower ever bloomed, before most of the continents took the shapes we'd recognize on a map today. The dragonfly was already here, already hunting, already perfect. Today, we're going inside the life of one of nature's most extraordinary creatures, the dragonfly. Let's start with the thing that makes scientists genuinely stop and stare. Dragonflies are the most successful aerial hunters on the planet. Not the most successful insect, not the most successful flying animal. The most successful hunter, period, when you measure by strike rate. They catch their prey in mid-air roughly 95% of the time. To put that in perspective, lions succeed in about 1 in 4 hunts. Sharks roughly 1 in 2. Great white falcons, considered the gold standard of avian predators, land somewhere around 47%. The dragonfly, 19 out of 20. How? It comes down to a combination of vision, brain architecture, and flight mechanics that took evolution hundreds of millions of years to engineer, and that we are still trying to fully understand. Look at a dragonfly's head. Almost the entire thing is eye. They have compound eyes, up to 30,000 individual lenses in each one, wrapping nearly 360 degrees around their head. They can see in almost every direction simultaneously. They can detect ultraviolet light, polarized light, and colors that simply don't exist in human vision. But here's the part that really stands out. Most of that compound eye detects movement, but at the very front there's a small region of much higher resolution. Scientists call it the acute zone, and dragonflies use it to track prey with almost laser-like focus, even as they move through three-dimensional space at high speed. Their brains are wired to filter out everything irrelevant and lock onto a single target. They don't just react to movement, they predict it. They calculate an intercept trajectory and fly directly to where the prey will be, not where it is. That's not instinct. That's something closer to anticipatory reasoning. And for an insect with a brain smaller than a grain of rice, that's remarkable. Each of the dragonfly's 4 wings operates independently. Most flying insects, bees, butterflies, flies, link their wings together so they move in pairs. The dragonfly doesn't do that. Each wing has its own muscle, its own angle, its own timing. This gives them an aerodynamic flexibility that engineers have spent decades trying to replicate. They can hover with almost perfect stillness. They can fly backwards. They can tilt sideways and change direction mid-flight without losing speed. They can reach 35 miles per hour in bursts. NASA and aerospace engineers have actually studied dragonfly flight extensively, trying to understand the tiny adjustments each wing makes 30 to 40 times per second. That those principles can be applied to micro-drones and small aircraft that need to navigate in tight, unpredictable environments. Nature solved this problem hundreds of millions of years ago. We're still catching up. Here's something most people don't know about dragonflies. The creature you see darting above the water, the jewel-winged, iridescent adult, spends the vast minority of its life in that form. The dragonfly begins its life underwater. As a larva, called a nymph, it lives submerged for anywhere from 1 to 5 years, depending on the species. In that form, it's a different kind of predator. Slow, patient, camouflaged. It hunts mosquito larvae, small fish, even tadpoles. It's a dominant force in the aquatic ecosystem long before it ever takes flight. When the time finally comes, the nymph crawls out of the water, up a reed or a rock, and something extraordinary happens. The outer shell splits. And out of that old skin, wet and crumpled, comes the adult dragonfly. It takes hours for the wings to unfold, for the colours to emerge, for the body to harden. The transformation from aquatic hunter to aerial hunter, from one kind of perfect to another, happens right there at the waterline. The adult dragonfly may live for only a few weeks. After years in the water, it has perhaps 30 days in the air. It uses every one of them. The oldest dragonfly fossils we've found date back 325 million years to the Carboniferous period, when Earth's atmosphere was far richer in oxygen and insects grew to sizes we'd find alarming today. Back then, dragonfly ancestors called griffinflies had wingspans of up to 28 inches. Imagine that crossing your path on a summer afternoon. The oxygen eventually thinned. The giants disappeared, but the dragonfly survived. It survived the mass extinction that wiped out the dinosaurs. It survived ice ages and continental shifts and atmospheric changes that ended entire branches of life. And through all of it, the basic design stayed largely the same. When evolution finds something that works, really works, it tends to leave it alone. If you're finding this as fascinating as we do, hit that like button right now and drop a comment below. What animals should we cover next? We read every one. There's a tendency, when we talk about insects, to treat them as background noise, to see them as small and simple and interchangeable. The dragonfly is a corrective to that.